Hey everybody, here's that tutorial on how to customize Google Docs to make them like fillable worksheets or workbooks for your clients. So let's start out. So I just opened a blank Google Doc and I've got a little content here to give us something to kind of play with. So the first thing I want to show you is how to work with styles, because this is something a lot of people miss and it really goes a long way to customizing your work and also like standardizing your brand and making your brand more consistent. So let's go ahead and for your workbook title, let's just use the title thing there. These are obviously my presets. We're going to make this a heading 1. Your welcome note's going to be heading 1. This is going to be heading 2. This is going to be a heading 2. The process, we're going to make that another heading 1. That's going to be the start of a new thing. And then we're going to have our questions. And these are the questions we're going to make fillable. But this is just to give you an idea of what happens when you start to use the styles for headings and subheadings. Is it actually, this is my favorite thing. It actually over here, if you see this little hamburger menu, it actually creates a clickable outline for people. So I clicked on the process and it took me right to the process. So one of the things you can tell people up front is if you have a really long workbook, you can say you can use this menu on the left as a way to navigate throughout this workbook. You can also do this with a table of contents. You can go up here to insert and it's hidden right now, but go up here to insert a table of contents. There's a clickable link version, but the problem with this is it doesn't update automatically. So if you go through and change the pages, if you move anything around, it won't update. You'll have to just recreate the table of contents again, which isn't, I mean, it's hard. It's not hard, but it's just something else to remember. This is live. This will update as you go. And I just think that's really awesome. So let's move this back down. Okay. So now these are for my brand, my sort of mid-century modern brand. Let's assume that does not work for you. Let me show you how to change these. So highlight, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, just highlight any one word and change it to make it what you would like. So let's say you like this pretty font, and let's say we're going to do like a nature theme. So let's make our natural, all natural, organic kind of thing. So let's say you want this to be your heading 1. Make note that if you make things different fonts, it will change the size. So you might want to adjust the size up or down to match how big or little you want them to be. But that one stayed pretty big, and that's fine. I mean, you usually want headings to stand out. So all right, so let's decide we're happy with this. So now let's go up to heading 1, and instead of saying apply, which will revert it back to mine, we're going to say update heading 1 to match, and it'll update it everywhere in your document. Done. It's fantastic, right? So let's say we want to do the same thing to this. So instead of that font, we're going to copy, we're going to do this one again. We could leave it that fun green, but let's say we want to do like a more orange brown color. Let's do that. And again, we're going to say update heading 2 to match. It's going to update it everywhere. Now we're starting to get something that looks a little bit more cohesive, assuming this is our brand, the all natural thing. I've got a logo we're going to upload and everything, but that's how you use those. Now, once you do that, once you get them how you're happy with them, you can go down here to options and say save as my default styles. It's amazing. If you do this, if you open any document that's older that you've created before this, you can just come down here again to options and say use my default styles, and it'll update everything to match, which is wonderful. If you set save as my default styles, it's actually going to go back to time you create a new document. It's gonna keep this styling. So pretty cool. So anyway, okay, so that's my little feel about styles and how to use them. So now let's talk about how to make fields fillable. So we want to have 2 fillable fields down here for the process. So let's go ahead and make a new line, and we're going to get rid of that number 2. And then we're going to come up here and say insert table. And we're just going to insert 1 cell by 1 column. Now this right here, already you're doing more than a lot of people. This already looks better than what a lot of people create when they do Google Docs, but let's make this a little bit better. Let's go up. Oh, and we don't have our title. We called this workbook title. If we just click in here, it'll autofill with the title. So let's do that. Okay, do it. Okay, so let's go to File, Page Setup. And there's all kinds of stuff in here that you can change and edit, and you can play around with how you want things to be. But we're going to change the page color. And let's add a custom color. We want something a little beigey orange because we're going to do like an organic thing. And you want it lighter than you think. I mean, because you're probably like, oh, something like that's pretty. And it's just going to be way too hot when you put it on the document. You always want it like blander and lighter and paler than you think you do. Even that's probably a little much. Let's let me get that a little bit more. That's probably good. Okay, let's do that. Okay. And so see, now we've just got that nice color. Now let's change this. So we're going to go to table, format, table. And down here at the bottom, it's going to say table properties, and it's going to bring up this menu on the right. Click on color. And for table border, you're going to take that down to 0, which is going to look like the table has disappeared, but it's not. It's still there. And then for cell background color, we're going to click white. Now, all of a sudden, it's looking like a fillable doc. So now we can just copy this and come down here and say paste. Oops, let's get rid of that 3. And now we're starting to have a fillable document and have a thing that really looks like something that clients can use. I mean, and the thing I love about this is this will save as they go, right? And I'll show you how to share it with them in a second, but this will save as they go. So like, you know, PDFs, trying to save fillable PDFs is such a nightmare. And these are just so much easier for people to use. Okay, so now let's upload a little logo. So I just pulled a free logo off of Canva. So let's put this up here. So there we've got the logo. Now, okay, so anytime you insert an image anywhere on your workbook, to save your sanity, go ahead and click. So right now it's set as inline. Click on this third one here that says break text, and it's going to come up with some more options for you. The 1/8 inch margin is fine. Sometimes for logos, I'll set it down to 0, but I mean, it's probably fine. But instead of saying move with text, which is going to give it a life of its own and make it bounce all around the page anytime you add anything, say fixed position on page. Now you can grab it, and the little lines will let you know if you're centered or not. And I would move it nice close to the top. Now, and then we can delete that space that we just put in there. Now we're starting to have something that looks like more of a, you know, professional document. So, and I actually, now that I have that in here, I hate this. Maybe this font would be better. It really isn't, is it? Let's, how about something delicate, but like, how about that? That's kind of pretty. It's kind of pretty. I mean, if you're going to get close to definitely not that. That doesn't go. Okay, bear with me one more second. We're going to find a nice little, oh, how about that? Nope, forgot to highlight a word. Where was it? That's cute enough. That's cute enough. Okay, and so we know how quick this is. To do this now, we're going to say update heading 1 to match. And it's not going to work because I didn't do this. There we go. All right, and we're going to do the same things to here. Now you can experiment too. You can make heading 1 a certain font, and then you can make your heading 2 actually match your paragraph font if you wanted to. A lot of people do that. They'll just make it a little bigger. So we could make this Lato, say update to match. I don't particularly love that, but you know, there it works. And I don't like that color either. Let's change this too while we're at it. Here, I'll pause it so you don't have to watch me. All right, that took way too long, but I'm a little happier with that. Okay, I just made this like a gray, and I made this kind of like a sagey green, and then I just shrunk the titles a little bit. It was there. So now we've got our logo up here. We might want a little space here. I mean, I would probably shrink that down. This is where you could increase the margin, but well, let's try that. Let's try that and see how that works. Okay, go in here and let's go ahead and say, let's say 1/2 inch and see what happens. That might be a little too big, but now it's a little bit better. Okay, and we can even move it down a skosh maybe. Okay, so now we're getting what looks like a real workbook. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, so now let's add a little bit more whiz bang to it if we want to get fancier. So you know how to add a logo. Let's talk about adding something to the background to give it a little more style. So let's go ahead and say insert image again, upload from computer. I made a couple because I really wasn't sure which one was going to look better. Maybe we'll see. We'll see about this one. Okay, so same thing as before. You do this a couple of different ways. You can do what I showed you before. You can change it to this third one. And then of course, now see how it's kind of hidden and you're like, oh my gosh, where did it go? It means it's just, I don't know why it does this. It just means it's off the page. Sometimes it's like, it's too big. We don't know what to do with that. It's crazy. And can we even access the menu yet? Just barely down here. And so right now it says move with text. So we click to break text. Now we can say fixed position on the page. And now we're going to have more control over it. And you can do different things with this. But the first thing let's do is let's actually say format image, and we're going to image options, and it's going to bring up this. Oh, nope. Actually, that's how to mess with this image. We can look at that too if you want to, but we want insert watermark. Here we go. Okay, so, oh, is this where we do it? We select an image. Oh, let's go ahead and do browse. I'll just upload it again. This one, let's try that one. Yay, perfect. Okay, and so there it's going to put it in there. Now, if you'll notice what it's done, here, let's get rid of this. Okay, if you'll notice what it's done, it's automatically put it in the background, which is kind of cool. Actually, it's a little distracting from the white bars, but if you and also notice it's got no background, right? I removed the background in Canva, so there's nothing there. If it's got a background, it's obviously going to look quite a bit different. So and right now it's clicked for faded, but if we go into more image options, we can actually do all kinds of stuff. So we could actually decrease the opacity even more. We could really make it subtle. That's kind of fun. I really like that. That looks kind of great. Let's see how it would look as you could take that off. That's just beautiful, right? That's just lovely to have a pretty graphic in there that people could work around and they're not going to muck it up or break the document. Go back into insert watermark. Let's get back to it. Okay. And so you can change the scale. So we can make it bigger, smaller, whatever here if we wanted to. The other thing we could do, let's say more image options. I think it's here. Yeah, go to position. So right now it's centered. We could move it off to the right. And this was kind of my original plan when I was thinking about it. Can we move this so we can see more? No, not quite. Can pick up the image and drag it. See how it's fighting me? Drives me crazy. I'm not sure we can do anything with that while it's set as a watermark though. This is what it does if you don't have it. Don't set the fixed. If you don't say fixed position on page, it moves around like that and drives me bonkers. But you see, this is when you got to start using these. The y-axis. Let's just make this 0 and see where it puts it. Perfect. Okay, we want to move it a little more to the right, so we want to go up, and it's going to move it over. And then it makes kind of this pretty, like, just nice little border that doesn't really interfere too much with the words. And if we're going to do this, let's close up position and let's go back to opacity. And we can actually make it a little bit, how do we get out of this? Back to the watermark. Here we go. Yeah. So let's say not faded. And then we get the actual leaves, and then we go back into more image options, and now we can make it a little more subtle if we wanted to. Kind of cool, right? Kind of fun. And so again, so now you've got another like really nice sort of background. And whatever you do, it's going to do it on every page. You can change it like page numbers and stuff. You can change it and say, is this going to open back up image options? No, it's so insert. Know that you can make it so that it doesn't happen. Oh, you can set the alt text, which you should do. Wonderful. Let's say leaves. Okay. And as in rotation, I mean, we could tilt it a little. All right, maybe there isn't a way. Maybe there isn't a way. I really thought there was a way to change whether or not your watermark was on the first page or not, but I don't see it here. Let's close out that text. You can put text. There's the placement and stuff. Obviously, there's tons of stuff to play with in here. If you find anything really cool, please let me know. Okay, and so let's get back to the document. So now, So now you've really got something. Now you've really created something lovely that, people will really, I mean, really think they're when they download this and they like go to fill it out, they're gonna be like, oh, she's so fancy. Okay, so now let's talk about how to actually share it with them. Okay, so go up here, you're gonna want to share it first, and right now it's set to private as only to me. Change this to be anyone with the link. Make sure it's set only to viewer. You're going to have other options, but make sure it's only to viewer, and then go ahead and say done. Don't bother copying the link because we're actually going to get it out of the URL bar here at the top. So go all the way to the end of the document. Yeah. So go all the way to the end of the document, and you'll have to backtrack a little bit, but you're looking for the word edit. So all of this after edit, you don't need, so you can delete all of that and instead put the word copy. And we're going to click Control All, and we're going to hit copy. So we have this URL. So it's the URL/copy. And what's going to happen is when they click on the link that you give them, it's going to come up and say, would you like to make a copy of workbook title? And this is how they're going to make a copy. And this prevents them from constantly emailing you and requesting edit access, because if you're like, no, make a copy and then you can edit it and that whole thing, this means you don't have to do that. And it's just a nice little trick. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions that I didn't answer. Let me know, and go ahead and tell them they can title it whatever they want. But this is going to be their copy. If you need to see it, you need to remind them that they need to share this with you, because once they've made a copy, it's going to make a copy in their Google Drive. So I would make that part of your instructions is, don't forget to invite me to it or something. If it's a client you're working with one-on-one, if it's freebie, it doesn't matter. But let me know if you have any other questions, if there's anything else you want to know. And this was fun. Okay, thanks.